Hey everybody, Coach Toolshed here, and today's video is not going to be discussing why everyone is so upset that EA is trying to charge an arm and a leg to get some heirloom skins in Apex Legends. No, that is not the purpose of today's video. Today we're going to be discussing something completely different, something that is rare in the gaming industry. We're going to be discussing something positive that a developer did, and we're going to expose the Epic Games Store for the liars that they are, because the Epic Games Store has been spinning a lot of tall tales over the last year, and the people who defend them continue to repeat those same tall tales, and we're going to blow them wide open today because a certain indie developer goes by the name of Unfold Games made an announcement late last night. They put up an article on medium.com discussing how they were approached by the Epic Games Store for exclusivity for their game. Now, it's actually just a single person studio, but they're putting out a game called DARQ, D-A-R-Q, DARQ with a Q, and the game just came out here in the last couple days. It's available right now on Steam and GOG, but where it's not available is the Epic Games Store, despite the fact that Epic had approached the developer and tried to get them to pry the game away from Steam and sign an exclusivity deal. They wanted to sign a one-year exclusivity deal, pretty much standard with EGS these days, and the developer told them no. And the reason why, and this might come as a bit of a shock to a lot of people in the gaming industry and some people in the gaming media and some certain developers here and there who have nothing but glowing praise for EGS, but the developer decided to not take the money for a really simple reason. Because he had told people that he was going to sell the game on Steam, and he felt like his own credibility was more important than taking a short-term payout from the Epic Games Store. Let me repeat that. The developer felt that his own credibility and his own word was more important to the customers than taking a short-term payout from the Epic Games Store. And this is a person who, this is their very first game. They've never released a game before, and Epic has approached them. Their game was high up on the list for the wish list on Steam, and of course, you know what happens. People try to say that the Epic Games Store is funding all these indie games. They're funding the development of these games, but of course that is not true at all. Because what the developer said here in the article that they wrote is Epic didn't approach him until 3 days after he announced the release date for the game. And of course, the game got the release date announced just at the end of July, and it came out now just here in the middle of August, so pretty short window between the time when he announced the release date and when the game actually came out, and Epic pounced right away. He said within 72 hours, Epic had jumped in, started sending him messages, trying to get him to sign an exclusivity deal. Even though, of course, you know, Epic has tried to say that they're going to try to shy away from doing stuff like that. You know, once someone has already put their game out on Steam and set a release date, they're not going to try to pry it away. They're going to try to do it ahead of schedule. No, that's actually not the case, because this is something where, once again, Epic isn't funding these games. They're waiting till these games are already almost out the door. They're not helping the developers push the game out the door. They're just slapping a big payday on them. This isn't to help with the development costs, because these games have already been developed by and large. That's what's been going on, and Epic is just swooping in at the last minute and trying to post these games in an effort to take games away from Steam because of the supposed monopoly of Steam, which is not actually monopoly in any way, shape, or form. People who use that term don't know what a monopoly is, but that's besides the point. But what do we have here? Something that's very important. Something that you just can't get away from. Something that I talk about all the time. That game developers, game publishers don't do. And something that the game media gets mad at players for is when players get mad when a developer lies and when they pull the rug out from under us at the last second. And here we have a case of a developer doing the right thing, sticking by his word, doing what he said he was going to do. Now, in the developer's own words in his article, he writes, "I had just announced DARQ release date on Steam. Pulling the game off Steam a few days after the Steam release date announcement would forever ruin the credibility of my studio." Yes, that's true. Then he says something very profound, something that I wish I could sit every game developer and every game publisher and all the media who defends these nonsense practices, I wish I could sit them all down like in a Clockwork Orange and pry their eyes open, just make them watch this scene over and over again. Just this phrase that he says right here. This is so profound yet so simple. yet something we never see in the games industry. He says, "I would like for my customers to have confidence that my word means something." You hear that? I would like for my customers to have confidence that my words mean something. Just play that on a loop. Maybe they could just repeat that as a mantra every morning when they're doing their yoga classes at the game studio or whatever they're doing. Maybe when they're sitting down, they could have a little note that says that. Maybe in the boardroom, they could have a little sign on the wall that says that. But here we have an indie developer, a single-person studio, never made a game before. This is the very first game with that much integrity. They turned down the money from the Epic Game Store because he had promised something to potential customers. He had told people that he was putting his game on Steam. He had announced the date on Steam, and he was not going to let Epic dictate that he couldn't fulfill his promises to his customers. Isn't that amazing? That's integrity, people. That's what it looks like. He didn't take the short-term payout because he's in this for the long haul. He says that in the article. He's in this for the long haul. Now, he also posted some screenshots of some back and forth correspondence that he had with the Epic Game Store. And now this is something that I've talked about before, but now we have some actual proof positive. We have some actual evidence here that this is what's going on. Is that Epic, for all their talk, for all their bluster, and for all the people that defend them, talking all the time, oh, Epic just wants to do what's right for the indie dev. They're so concerned with that revenue split. It's the revenue split. They really care about helping indie developers with the revenue split. Except this guy asked them if he could put the game on their storefront and on Steam, because he had already promised the game to go on Steam. And they told him no. They don't want the game on the storefront. They don't want his game on Epic unless it's exclusive. They don't care about letting him have a revenue split. They don't care about actual competition. They talk all the time. We care about competition. It's all about competition. It's all about competition. Yet, when someone just wants to put their game on both storefronts, Epic says no. So how is that not competition? We all know the truth here. We all know that the media is always going to be covering for the Epic Game Store because it's in their best interest. They want that access. Plus, a lot of them I've discussed before, and I like to bring this up every time I talk about the Epic Game Store. Don't forget that there are people in the media who will sit there and actively promote the Epic Game Store because they are getting paid on the back end through game sales if people use their product code when they cash in at the Epic Game Store, when they cash out their purchase. So once again, just bringing that, because that almost never gets talked about. People who like to promote the Epic Game Store a lot of times have a vested interest in doing so. But again, I don't even want to turn this into an Epic versus Steam thing right here. There's enough videos of that right now, and I've done a few of those myself, but let's focus on what's important here. The integrity of this developer. This is very important. This right here is enough to make me go and check this game out. I had never heard of this game. I've never heard of this person. But now, I know, at least, that this is something that you can trust moving forward. Maybe this game isn't for you. Maybe it's not for me. Who knows? I haven't played it. But the point is this. We don't see this. Why I'm commenting on this is because how rare this is in the industry for people to make promises to us as customers and to treat us like we're an actual consumer group. This is how you do public relations. This is how you get customers loyal to you, is by not screwing them around with your promises. It's so simple. It's so easy. Yet almost no one does it. That's why it's worthy of comment. Once again, the name of this game is DARQ with a Q. The name of the developer is Unfold Games. And this is something that is, it's mind-blowing that a simple fact of a developer keeping their promise is so worthy of commentary. But it is. And them drawing attention to the fact, and by the way, going out on a limb by exposing these emails from the Epic Game Store. We don't know. He said that he never signed any confidentiality things, so I don't know what the ramifications might be from that. He even mentions that in the article, that he hopes that there won't be any ramifications from him releasing some of the correspondence that he had with the Epic Game Store. But just goes to show, for all the bluster from Tim Sweeney, from all the bluster from the Epic Game Store and their spokespeople and the media, who is just a promotional tool for the Epic Game Store at this point, because they're all on board. And by the way, I have seen people, games journalists, going up against this guy and getting mad at this guy for this announcement. Believe it or not, I have seen people getting mad. I've seen game developers, indie game developers getting mad. It's rare. Most of the feedback I've seen on social media has been overwhelmingly positive towards this developer, as it should be. But of course, you're going to have people in the media, journalists, and you're going to have other indie developers who maybe might be eyeing up that Epic deal, or maybe who have already taken that Epic deal and they have gotten mad at the guy. And this just further exposes the hypocrisy of the media right here, because of the few people that I've seen going after this guy, it's like they're getting upset for someone because they didn't lie to their customer, because they did what they said they were going to do, because they kept their word, and people are getting mad about that, saying this is some sort of PR stunt. Now, is this going to work out to be great public relations for this person? Yes. Is this going to work out well for the game? Yes. It's going to put eyes on the game that no, it wouldn't have been there, simply by them not doing the wrong thing and going against their word. It's so simple. And people act like it's just like this crazy, insane backlash against the Epic Game Store. All it is, I keep saying this again and again, customers just don't want to get lied to. We're customers. Stop just calling us gamers and dismissing us as when you try to have a conversation. We're customers. All we want is to be respected as customers, and that goes so far. This guy is going to clean up. People are going to check this game out and buy this game who had no interest in the game, who never even heard of the game before. And long term, people that follow this developer will know that at the very least, they can trust what he says, because he's not going to pull the rug out from underneath them. And that's it. That's it for the video. That's all I wanted to talk about. It's so rare that this needs to get highlighted, because I don't want stuff like this to go under the radar, because there's so much complaining. In fact, the reason why I haven't made any videos in the last week and a half is I've just been so disgusted with the entire industry. Just the coverage is just nonsense. The developers, the publishers, all the news we've been getting about the loot box stuff, and they just the scams just being exposed, and the constant shilling that we get from the media, who's just like one giant promotional anti-gamer tool that the industry uses. I've just been so just done with even bothering to think about making a video, because I've just been disgusted with the whole thing, the whole Take-Two nonsense, which I haven't even commented on, because it's so messy, and I don't think any of us really know what's going on. I think there's missing information all the way around, and I just don't want to even discuss this stuff. It's just so ugh. But here's something good. So let's highlight it. People say I'm negative all the time. Here you go. Here's something positive. Anyway, that's it from me, Coach Toolshed. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Please subscribe if you want to stay in tune with the channel. Head forward, and as always, keep it turned to 11. Once again, the name of the game is DARQ, Dark with a Q, Unfold Games. Talk to you guys later.